Welcome to Coinology, the podcast.
You ain't getting no money if you constantly worried about what everybody else got to say. If you constantly got your eyes on what everybody else doing, you ain't getting no money. When it comes down to closing a deal, I get it done. Every single one. I'm the certified deal closer.
Welcome to Coinology, the podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Coinology. We're in season 4, and I'm excited to have none other than Mr. Terry T. Miles in the room with us today. Welcome him into the studio, y'all. Thank you. So Terry, I met you maybe about a couple of weeks ago, a month ago.
Probably about a month ago.
Yeah, I was really intrigued when I heard your story. Your story was one that, you hear a lot of, right? As far as young black urban male ended up in prison and coming out. But to see the level of success that you have that's the unusual part, especially the success that you've had in entertainment.
Correct.
Background with No Limit
Correct.
Records. If y'all don't know, No Limit, Master P, none other. And then you've gone on to direct and produce a number of films that are doing very well. So you've actually probably lived 3 lives, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So let's go back a little bit, Terry. Where are you from?
I'm from Southeast Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Where I'm originally from. Of course, we all know the stories of when you coming up as a child and your mother, a single mother, living in the projects. I seen my mother struggle taking care of me and my sister in the household and having to go to work, catching buses, and up north when it snows, we call it butt deep because it snow all the way up to your hips.
Yep.
And just watching my mother as a child coming up, seeing her catching buses like that and walking in the snow with tennis shoes on and grocery bags, it'll get to you, as a young man. And coming, like I say, at the age I am, our fathers was the guys on the corner. So, but they was different than of today.
Okay, how were they different?
They was more different because the life that they was living, they pretty much looked at us as the kids as giving us money. Man, you don't want to live this life. Go to school, get you some school clothes, other than the guys of today.
It was a means to an end back then.
Correct.
But today it's about, let me show you how big I am.
Right, and today it's like they invite them onto the lifestyle, the drugs, the street hustling, the abusing and disrespecting women. It was just different, coming up. And me seeing that coming as a kid and seeing my mother struggle like that, it made me feel like I had to be the man of the house. And it's like a two-way street. And when I say this, because it's like almost you want to listen to the guys on the corner saying do this and do that. But at that time, you want to be that young man to help your mother with bills, putting food on the table. And so it's kind of like I want to go this right way, but that's going to take too long to help my mama. So I got to do it this way right now to bring money in the house. So I just went around them to those who, as I say, the big bad wolf that was waiting for me. Come on. Oh, I got you. Come on, youngster. Come on. Just take this, put it in your backpack, or stand on the corner or lay in the woods with this walkie-talkie. And just when you see the police come, just let us know they coming. And
How old were you when you started?
Oh, I was probably about, I think at the time we were probably like 12. 12 or 13.
That says a lot because today, 12 years old back then was a lot more mature.
A lot more.
12-year-olds today, they are very, very immature as to what they stand. I remember I was sharing when I was 6 years old, I was taking the key from around my neck, a latchkey key, and opening the front door and going into the house. And that was just normal. And it wasn't a situation of, oh my God, everybody was doing it. Because your parent, if you came from a 2-parent household, your parents were at work when you got home from school, right? Yeah. But 12 back then was light years different.
It was totally
different.
Totally.
And at that time, do you think your mom was expecting you to help her?
She didn't know. She was so busy, caught up trying to make a living for us. She didn't really have time to see or think what I was doing. And like I'm saying, like the difference is at my age of 12 then, it's like you were 5 years older. Now life is backwards. If
Right.
you're 12, you're 5 years dumber.
You're right. It's a whole different, but I think it's just the sheltering part.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about Southeast DC.
Yeah.
So I'm a DMV girl too. My father's from Southeast.
So you know. So you
So I
already
know. Shout
out to your dad.
Yeah, my daddy is no joke.
Yeah,
Shout out to
yeah.
Gerald Porter.
Yeah, okay.
Standing it down, okay?
Okay.
But so I'm very familiar, and I know Southeast was no joke. If
No
you
joke.
said you came from out of
No
Southeast, you knew
Yeah,
what the deal was,
and
right?
and especially my side. I come out of Linda Poland Apartments in Southeast, and it was at the time like one of the most dangerous apartment complexes over in Southeast, next to Valley Green and Conaturs, and of course you had Burry Farms and all that.
So 12, selling drugs,
Yeah.
right? How long did that take place before you had any type of interaction with the law?
Oh wow! I mean it was crazy because at 12 and just laying in the woods and making like $100 a day, just to let them know when the police coming. At the time, that was still boring money to me.
Yeah, $100 back in the day, that was no joke.
It was no joke.
No joke.
You got to think gas at that time was 85
Yes,
cents.
$100.
$100, and I mean, to me, it was still boring to me. And I mean, as time started gradually going, I started getting more excited and more intrigued on that life. So eventually, when I got to like the age of maybe like 14, I got into stealing cars. Stealing cars, joyriding, but also that started getting boring to me. And
So you think, when you saying boring, so at this point, your desire was beyond the money. It was more of an internal excitement.
to be honest with you, now at my age of today, I realize, and I'm just saying, I was before my time.
How old are you? You keep saying your age.
Now, I'll be 55 this year.
Okay.
And I just feel like I was before my time, and I think what I battle with right now is because I feel like God gave me a talent on the inside to really be somebody. And a lot of times I look at myself and I talk to these youngers of the day and be like, man, look, don't take the time that you have right now and use it stupidly. And I feel like I could have been probably even more bigger than what I have going on now. It's just that I didn't take the time to really apply my mind and what I was doing, because I was more applying it on more evil than good. And the reason why I say is because I found myself being very advanced than the other kids, because I've always took another route. When everybody was going to the right, I was going to the left. But it would work for me. And just like even with starting to steal cars, I got to the point to where I never stole nobody's personal car. I would go to the dealerships and take their cars. And it got to the point to where they didn't even know how I was doing it. And it came to another level to where I started selling. I would steal the cars from the big dealerships and start selling them to the import dealerships.
Oh wow! So you had a whole. So did you turn this into a whole like operation?
A whole operation.
Okay.
It got to the point to where I went from making $100 a day to where now I'm making like $5,000 to $10,000, because I was taking brand new cars and selling them back to import dealerships, to them to sell to
overseas.
To sell to the drug dealers in the street, because they was changing the serial numbers to the car.
I was about to ask you the serial number, so they was changing
doing
them.
that.
Okay.
And then that got boring.
Okay, that got. So what was next?
Then once again, next was I started saying, okay, well, if they getting money, if you're giving me $5,000 for this brand new Mercedes, and I see you got on the lot for $30,000, maybe I need to start selling cars. So I started putting for sale signs in the cars that I was taking, and I started getting paper tags and registrations for the cars. But what I was doing was, when the younger drug dealers would come and buy the car, I would snatch them, kidnap them, and take the money and leave them in that car.
So the word wasn't getting out on the street, hey, don't mess with him?
No, it never got to that point, because they never knew. They actually never knew what I was actually really doing. But I'm still selling cars to all the major big drug dealers now, from Ray.
But the smaller drug dealers is the ones you were.
Oh, the small ones, yeah, I was getting. So when I would put a for sale sign on a car, yeah, you can get this brand new truck for like $10,000. They was jumping on like what, or 15 or 20,000. They were like, man, all the time I would just grab them.
Right. So, but they never went back out on the street and said, "Don't mess with him." Mm-mm. Really?
Because they never thought. They would think because I would let you go, savings, I would let you go, and it might be 2 or 3 of us. I would let you go, but I would tell you, man, look, I'm gonna spare you this time. I'm gonna let you live. So they was like, man, this dude, man, is unaliving everybody else. But all the time I wasn't. But at that time, D.C. was so known for the murder capital, they was afraid, so they wouldn't say nothing.
So you weren't afraid of retaliation?
Never.
Really? You
Still out in the clubs partying.
Okay.
Never. I mean,
so do you think that came from you being just so ice cold, or do you think it also came from the fact of you were young, so you just assumed you were invincible?
Yeah, it's just that me coming up in the environment, it's just like if me and you right now adopt a child that was Asian or Chinese or whatever, if they come up with us, they're going to speak English. They're not going to speak Chinese, they're going to speak English.
That's right.
So by me coming up in an environment that, like you just said, is cold, I didn't know no better. So I'm thinking like, man, this is the way of life. Who cares? You know, so my heart never went out to them like, oh man, I feel sorry.
Not about your heart going out, but just the fact of them waking up tomorrow being pissed off and coming to look for you.
You care about that. I mean, with the money that you having, you don't care about that.
Wow.
You know, and that's why I kind of understand the generation of the day is because a lot of them are not men. It's their money that makes them a man. So I kind of understand the direction they going in because I was once one of them.
Okay.
That same way.
So, then you graduated from that point. What was next after that?
The penitentiary.
Okay, so you got caught from that gig?
I kept getting arrested. They never got me on those. They would always get me like, man, we hear that this dude got a car ring going on. But they never knew to a degree how much it really was. So when I finally started getting locked, I say from 1986 to 2000, I probably seen only 3 Christmases at home. So
1986
to
2000.
I only seen 3 Christmases at home.
So the rest of the time you were locked up.
Always locked up.
My God. Okay, so what was your first conviction for?
Counterfeit money, gambling. I had counterfeit money.
Okay.
A crackhead that switched money with me and gave me a Xerox 20, and I'm sitting there gambling, and just so happened I told one of the dudes to go get a pizza. Because he was like, man, I'm hungry. I was, take that. Still gambling. And he going there and he spending, not knowing it was a Xerox 20. And he told me it was me. So that was my first charge.
That's your first charge. Yeah. And how long were you gone for that?
They probably gave me like 90 days.
I about to say that can't be too long,
they gave
right?
me like 90 days.
All right. So back then, before we go to the next one, how did you handle old boy who snitched on you? Because back then, these kids that snitching today, back then there was no snitching.
But you know what? It was my buddy. And I realized, like, man, this dude, man, you know, I expect that out of him.
So you knew he wasn't he wasn't made for it.
Yeah, man, you know, and that was my bad. That was my stupidness. I shouldn't have never even got to 20. I should have been watching.
So were y'all still cool after that?
I mean, we was cool. We was
okay.
Cool. We was cool.
All right. So your second bid.
My second bid is people started saying that I was the leader of the car ring, and that they could never get me with the kidnapping and any kind of conspiracies, the murder, nothing like that. They would just be like, man, we know he getting them. Because I started taunting the police. I was at the point where, you know, if I was in D.C. and PG County Police was in D.C. off duty at the club, I would ride and park right beside them. And they knew, come on, man, this dude 15 years old and a brand new 500 SL Mercedes, and it's like 10 of them, come on. But they couldn't do it about me because I had the registration and paper tags. It was just that how I was doing it. I would go on the car lot and see a black 500 SL Mercedes, take it after they just brought the truck, to the point where I was tearing the plastic off the car because it was brand new. But I would go back, get the paper tags and the registration in the dealership, and go back on the lot and find the same model car on it and take the serial numbers and everything off of that car, put it on the registration, and the paper tag on the back. So when the police pulled me over and called it in, the car's not stolen because it's still on the lot. They were just too lazy to go look at the serial numbers because they was taking it from the paper tags.
Okay. So you had the people started talking though, right?
Yeah.
And then they ended up.
They was like, this dude is a damn genius. We don't know how he's doing it, but we know he's doing it.
So somewhere inside of the police department there was a board with your face on it.
Oh, when they finally got me, when they finally realized it was me, and because I got pulled over, didn't have no license, they locked me up, and the guy came in there and asked me what was my name again. After I told him, he just stared at me for 5 minutes and then just ran around the corner and came back with like 15 other police officers and the chief and everything. Said, we got him. There you go, right there. And they actually let me out of the cell and signed the damn wall. But at the time, my mind was like, damn, yeah, they know me. But not knowing, like, come on, dude, this ain't it for you.
That's not the way you want.
I got a bigger vision for you.
Right. So from 1986 to 2000.
Yeah.
Locked up.
When I finally got sentenced, Maryland gave me 10 years. D.C. gave me 15 years. That was July 30th, 1990. And
that was during that time. Well, no, that was right before the 3 strikes and you're out. And that was after that, right?
That was before that. That hadn't even came up yet.
Right.
Came up yet.
And you better be glad because D. One thing about getting caught up in some legal troubles in Virginia, it's no joke. You serve every last one of your days.
Well, that's D.C. now. I mean, that's D.C. now. I was the last before it switched over to federal.
Okay.
When I left, that's when it stopped and then became federal. Whatever you do in D.C. now, you go straight to the feds.
Okay. So you basically survived in prison for all those years.
Actually ended up spending my time in Lorton, which once again was one of the most dangerous prisons in the whole East Coast because it was shut down next to Alcatraz because the inmates ran it.
So when you went in your mind, did you ever think this is where I knew I was going to be here one day?
I kind of knew it. I didn't know for that long. It didn't really hit me until 1992. I ended up catching another charge I ended up catching a murder charge in Lorton. They sent me to maximum security. I stayed there behind the wall for like 3 years before trial started, in a cell for 23 and a half hours a day. Cell was so small that if I fell, I wouldn't even hit the floor because the wall would catch me. So
they say that those types of situations are meant to break. It's meant to make you go crazy.
It is. A lot of people's going crazy. I mean, even they had me on medication for a while. They had me on 100 milligrams of Siloquan. They tried to put me on Thorazine. Because me being young, going to the penitentiary young, I still was doing stupid things, running around with knives, stabbing, still robbing.
Behind the robbing
in
the
prison.
Concessionary stuff?
No,
or?
I mean, because Lorton was ran by the prisoners, so, they had just as much as drugs and cash money than the streets, really.
So it really is what you see on TV. It's really that
Lorton
bad.
was not a game.
No joke.
It was not a game.
No joke. Okay. So did your mom still come and see about you?
My mom was my biggest supporter. Like, and it still hurt me to this day. That's one of the reasons why I go so hard like I do now, which I take care of her now. I keep her with me. I just make sure her life is at the best ever. And it kind of feels good to where she's never really had her own home, but I was the one who purchased it for her. So it feels
And you
good.
purchased it the right way.
The right
I know,
way.
yeah. What about your sister?
My sister, she worked for the United States Secret Service. So,
that's a strong. Was she part of this whole Trump situation that just went down?
No, she wasn't part of that one. She was part of the Obama.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know you're proud of her.
Oh yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
No, but the crazy part is what I'm proud of the most, and it's the craziest. It's my daughter, who's the same name as me, and she's a FBI agent.
Ooh. So you mean to tell me when they do background checks?
Which I wasn't supposed to say that. My bad.
But I'm surprised. So when they did backgrounds on your sister and your daughter, your background was not a hindrance for them? Wow. Okay. So was your daughter conceived before or after you?
Right after I got out.
Right after you got out. So when you went in, you had no children.
No children.
You weren't married at that point.
Not married.
So you didn't have to worry about what it was like outside with something.
But shout out to my daughter mother because she stayed day for day with me.
Okay.
She was every visit, every time they.
So y'all were together.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we was together. But I told her, look, I got this time. Your life don't stop. Mine's dead. Do what you got to do. Just remember, whatever dudes you deal with in the street, I like Timberland boots, so make them pay for it. Make sure you pay for it.
Right. So how did you? But no, seriously though, did you ever think about the fact that hey, this woman I'm in love with is still living her life out here, or you just take that completely out of your mind?
She made it easy for me.
Okay.
Because and she had a baby. She had a baby while I was in.
Ooh, so when you found that out, when she came into you and said, I'm pregnant, how did you handle that?
I was cool with it because she got pregnant with a guy who was before me. So it didn't bother me. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I kind of took her from him when I was out. So when she got pregnant by him, hey, they was already indulging with each other when I met them. So when she got pregnant by him, I was like, okay, that's cool. I mean, you know, what
you still come to see me, right?
That's what I'm saying.
And you put some money in my books too, right?
You got me. You know, and she was 100, strong woman, man. Shout out to Patricia Carter, man.
Okay,
strong black woman.
That's amazing. That's amazing because you know what? One thing I always said about brothers, right? 'Cause especially going through the times that we went through, which was a tough time back in the day. You guys always still had people to come see about y'all.
Yeah.
But the women who, when they get locked up, they're not as lucky.
Yeah.
People don't
I agree with you.
Keep holding them down, coming to check on the women, making sure they're not doing that.
I agree with you. But like I said, I was just blessed. I was blessed. And it wasn't easy. I mean, I still had other women that was coming.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I saw, it's a guy on TikTok. His whole little thing now is that he's blowing the roof off of men in prison, and he's just talking about, look, sis, if you're a prison wife, you getting cheated on is what he said. He said because you leaving, the next one coming the next day, the next one coming, the CO officers. Because I don't know if you know, one of my cousins is one of the most notorious out in the DMV area. I don't know, his name is James Porter, Junior Porter. He was gone for some kingpin charges for a long period of time up in that DMV. I'll have to introduce you to someone else too here shortly. But one of the things he told me, he said, let me tell you something about behind bars. Yeah. Those officers and nurses,
they make the bid a little easy.
That's what I hear.
I mean, they make the bid a little easy, man. Like, I mean, but you can't be. I mean, you got to understand. The correction officers is neighborhood females that come from our neighborhood.
And they said that these are the women who had crushes on you guys before you went in. It's the same.
They like bad boys.
Yeah, I mean, same situation. Same situation.
I mean, you know, ain't nothing changed. Then you in there with them, and you know, and one thing women got to understand. Women correction officers got to understand about men who are behind bars. We study women. We know what's going on with you at home. We could look you up and down and tell, you know, from you, man, hey, that's a nice color nails on you. But your man ain't home ain't telling you that. You know, oh, you got your toes done. Oh, you smell good. Oh, because we don't have number time. So we looking at you, and women are like, damn, he is really paying attention to me.
But let me ask you, do you think it's wise for the system to put women in male prisons to work? That just, to me, you setting that up. I just feel like women should be in women prisons, men should be in men prisons.
You know, it really should be that way, but at the end of the day, I guess they feel like it's not a lot of people to fulfill the jobs. So if a woman come and apply, they're going to put her out there on the front line. Not knowing that, hey, you put on that front line, she going to end up from behind. I'm just being for real. I mean, it's the truth. It's the truth. I've been there. I've seen it. I've seen it, you know. Then you got inmates that's still making more money than their man at home.
Right.
So when they sitting there and,
or the street cred is just so daggone high.
But no, it's really just the money.
Right.
Because you coming in, you tell me about these bills, I'm noticing you doing double shifts. Like, why your man got you working like this? Well, it's just so much, it's just so hard going home. Look, man, my man ready to come drop you. Can you meet him? He gonna give you, man, $2,000 or $3,000.
And it's a wrap at that point.
Come on, man.
It's a wrap, okay? It's a wrap. It's a wrap. All right, so you get out. You and your daughter's mom, y'all get together. Yeah. What is the first thing after you get out? Like, do you immediately go back to the streets?
No.
Okay, so what?
Well, I mean, before I even get to that, I want to say, because it's the changing part of my life.
Okay.
When I actually went to maximum security, that's when I realized, hey, dude, you got to change your life.
This ain't it.
No, because now how you go from this to where now I'm facing an inner jailhouse murder. So I'm like, damn. And
did you do it?
Did I do what?
The murder.
What murder?
So that's just it. You answered my question.
No, but I mean, I'm thinking at that time, like, I gotta change my life. And shout out to this inmate who was next door to me.
Okay.
And the cell next to me. He asked me, he said, youngster, how much time you got? I said, man, right now I got 10 years. And he was like, look, you got another chance.
Okay.
I was like, okay. But me listening to him talking every day, one day I just asked, I said, man, when you getting out? He slid me his face sheet. Your face sheet is when your mandatory release date. And I read it, and I read all his charges, and he had been locked up since the 70s. And this was like 1992. And I'm like, damn, okay, so I'm reading it. And I get to the bottom, his release date was when deceased. So I was like, Jesus Christ. I was like, man, what they mean with this? He was like, man, I'd never walk out these doors. I'd be carried out.
So he had to live with knowing that was his only. So he was in there for life then.
He was in there for life. And this is the crazy part. Before I went for sentencing, I was in the house with my daughter's mother watching a documentary called The Big House about Lewisburg. And they were saying that it was this guy. He was one of the most notorious prisoners in Lewisburg from Washington, D.C. And his name was Willie Strickland. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching it. And he had these plaques hanging out his head and how he had killed some correction officers. And
it was him?
God put me in the cell right next to him.
My God. Ooh.
Probably like 2 years later. He had just came back from the feds. And if anybody's a big Tupac fan, Tupac took his voice and put on his album with a song called "I Wrote This to the Warden" with a broken arm and one eye, and that's Willie Strickland because he had got stabbed in his eye. And everybody's asking, man, you gonna sue Tupac on the TID? He was like, nah, let the youngins get his money. Let him get his money. And it was him. And man, shout out, praise God, because he's out in the street now. After being locked up for almost 50 years.
Whew. But the question is this. I often ask this because when you spend that much time in jail, can you actually live a enjoyable life outside of those walls to the point where mentally, you know, after being in confinement and all of the mistreatment and the PTSD and so forth, being able to merge back out there and then having to take care of yourself,
right,
and not have the proper support system? Because the average person doesn't have the support system when they get out.
No, they don't. I mean, my family has always been there with me. They've always kind of seen something bigger for me. And like I was saying, at that time, being incarcerated, and being in maximum security at that time, I knew it was a plan because I never read no books, but I used to always read the little magazines. And the only rap I used to read about was Master P.
Master P.
That was my turnaround. And I used to read about him, and I used to be like, man, I don't like all these other rappers. They be faking. But there's just something about this dude.
Master P really started hitting hard, though, in 96. So you was behind bars then, right?
I was behind bars.
You was in bar, okay.
But I had read about him in the Calio Pro. He was coming up. And the crazy part about it is when I finally got out of maximum security and they let me back out on maximum control movement on a compound, I started seeing the videos. And about it. I was like, man, this dude got a bat in the video.
But you know what's strange too? It's from DMV.
Right.
I was introduced to Master P when I moved to Atlanta in 96.
Right.
Back then, DMV folks didn't rock.
Nah.
Southern music.
We go-go.
We didn't do West Coast. We was go-go, or we were East Coast. We were LL, we were Biggie, we were. So when I came down here, that's when I started hearing all this Outkast and TLC and Master P, because I know back at home I was thinking to myself, this sounds. It was strange to my ears, and then it started getting into my spirit, and Master P is what made me start loving Southern hip hop.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Even though there was a whole lot of other, but for me, I was a DMV girl.
Yeah.
And so we were very territorial about the types of music that each of us, Southern rap initially was like, what the hell are they saying? You couldn't understand
it. We wasn't with it.
We couldn't understand it.
We wasn't with it.
Uh-huh. So how did you, being locked up?
It's crazy. Because when I made a promise to God, I ain't gonna never, I was praying, and I said, man, if you really do exist, really do exist, when I get out, I'm gonna change my life, and I'm gonna live the right way and still make more money than I did living the wrong way.
You think you manifested the relationship?
I really did.
Did you ever put something up in your cell with Master P in it?
No, I never did that, but I used to always lay in the cell and lay in the bed and just visualize me being a promoter. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and I used to always do it every day because I had nothing else to do.
Right.
That was my way of getting away in my head. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, when I got out, I was like, damn, what can I do to get into this entertainment business? Because I can't rap and I can't sing, but I've always been good with joking. So I said, I'm gonna get into this comedy business.
Okay, but let's stop right there. Why entertainment? Did it seem like it was something quick? Was it easy, or did you see young guys like Diddy, Jay, Master P? These are all young guys that came from the streets that was able to make something.
You know what? And that wasn't it, because I wasn't even into the rap and all that. It was just that I was like, I gotta find a way to make, because I ain't gonna lie, and this what me and my daughter mother split up on. Because if I'd have listened to her, I'd have been like James on Good Times, somewhere working construction. That was my first job, mm-hmm. working construction. Then I was like, this ain't gonna work. Mm-hmm. Then my partner put me on the trash company because he was like, man, we made $500-$600 a week. I was like, that sounds good. Mm-hmm. But then after me riding on the back of the truck and have to pick them damn trash cans up, and man, I picked one up and kitty litter fell all on me. I was like, man, I quit. He was like, man, youngster, today is a slow dance. Nah, old time, today my last day. I quit. Take me back to that yard, whatever y'all call it. Take me back. I'm out of here. And he was like, man, you gonna mess up my route, man. Damn your route. Man, then take me back. Then my body locked up. Cause, I done sweated so hard. And he gonna come to me with salt in his hands. I'm gonna lick this. Man, out your hand. Hell no, I'm not doing that. But then I ended up doing it and my body uncramped up. I was like, dang, it really worked.
So that wasn't no salt then, right?
Yeah,
what was it?
Man, I don't know what the hell it was, but I know I got home and I felt like I had the damn flu. My body was aching so bad. So that
was the last day for the trash.
This is not gonna work. It's not gonna work for me. This is not gonna work. I don't know. So I'm like, damn.
But back at home, you got a gig on a trash truck or something. You had a good job.
Man, yeah, but
you had a good job.
I couldn't see myself doing that. And then I'm trying to talk to women and I'm stinking. I'm like, man.
Now you can't be trying to talk to women while you on a trash route now.
I'm fresh out. 10 years, I'm
you going
fresh
hard.
I'm fresh out. I'm like, shoot, you can't tell me nothing.
You shooting your shot.
Yeah, I'm shooting.
And whoever bite.
Yeah, I'm cut up, I'm ripped up, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm seeing everybody else busted up. I'm like,
right.
I gotta have better. I deserve better. So, it got to the point. I went to a comedy show one night, and we sitting in there, and it was Marlon Wayne on stage, and he performing. And my man, he done gave me these darn Hennessy's, and I'm drinking it. Mm-hmm. And he like, man, you can get him. Mm-hmm. I'm like, man, I can't get that guy, man. That dude is a... Then I started talking, and Marlon stopped everything. It was like this, hey, don't do it back there. Come up here where it count at. Mm. He should have never said that. I was already drunk, so I just staggered right up there on the stage, and we went at it. And that led from the owner saying, man, look, man, won't you come back and host? And I was like, host what? He was like, man, host the club, man. You drunk man. Because that's what everybody started saying, drunk man. Mm-hmm. So, and I ended up doing it. And I started hosting it and bringing the whole hoods out. And next thing you know, that led from me, man, doing Comic View, me and Kevin Hart staying in a room together on tour, Michael Blackston, Tony Robbins, everybody of today, JB Smoove, and I started bringing them to DC and start having all the comedy cruises on the Spirit of Washington, and they would sell out.
Okay, but you skipped something because you had to have some capital. Did you already have capital kind of stashed up? Or?
I mean, once again, like I said, Spirit of Washington is what really helped me get my money. And I went to the dock, and that boat at the time held 500 people, and the only how you could rent the boat was by plates, and the place was like $34.95, and it came up to like $28,000. That's the only way you could rent the boat. So I actually met with the GM and told him, look, I can make a deal with you. If I could sell tickets for $60, and your tickets is only $34, but if I sell them for $60, just give me $20 and you take the rest. And he was like, and I said, I guarantee you I can sell the boat out, lying like hell. I was like, man, I ain't gonna sell this damn boat out. But what I did was I got up every day and got comedians like Michael Brooks and all of us, and I went out every day and I promoted for like 4 months.
But how do you just come out of prison and just meet a Michael Brooks and get him to do?
Well, you got to understand, before I went in, I already had a name before I went in.
Okay, so when you came out and you said, hey, T. Miles.
Right, where at the time it was Head.
Okay.
Everybody used to call me Young Head in the streets.
Okay, so when you came, then they were like, oh, okay.
Head home. You know how I go, head home. And they threw me some parties, and, that was it. And, of course, guys that I already knew who was in the streets gave me money. But other than that, I just hustled everything else.
So you kept going. You didn't allow for...
I didn't want to be around nobody that was negative.
Right. That mindset got to shift, right?
And it did.
You talking about what I can't and I'm not. And
it actually did. Because, of course, they offered me everything in the world. And you did, take that. I was like, I don't want that. I mean, if it ain't no money, I don't want it. Other than that, then it got to the point where those who was offering me money, I ain't want it, because I knew what came behind door number 2.
Yeah. And let's talk about it, because usually people don't realize nothing in life is free.
Nothing in life is free.
Nothing.
Because you got to understand, guys, times have changed. So now, guys who used to be linked on, guys used to lean on, now they getting money. So now, guess what? They want an enforcer. And I wasn't on that. And I understand, I came home, you found out about the charge I did while I was in, so you think I'm on this guerrilla mentality. I'm not, though. Man, I'm trying to stay out here. I'm trying to be the square. I'm trying to be the sucker. Because I'm realizing they stand in the streets and they sleeping with all our women when we go to prison.
That's right. They waiting for us.
I want to be one of them now. I want to be sports coat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I didn't let none of them influence me. I stayed on my vision. And even my childhood friends who was getting a lot of money, I ain't gonna never forget, I rode with one of my friends and I picked up I rode with him to pick up like $300,000. And he was like, come on, man, you ready to get this money? I was like, nah, man, I'm gonna try this entertainment stuff. He was like, nigga, that ain't gonna work. I was like, but he looked at me like, you done got soft, man. I was like, nah, man, I'm good. I'm gonna try. And it's crazy, because that same childhood friend of mine who told me that day, man, he ended up doing 22 years straight. It just came home. He was like, man, I wish I'd have listened to it. Yeah.
So you knew then. So you started off with the promotion.
And I said, man, I want to be a comedian.
Okay.
So what I did was, when I invited, Kevin Hart was living in Philly then. So when I brought Kevin, I would tell Kevin, man, bring me to your spot, and I'm gonna bring you his. And I only did that to go around his manager and the agency, and it worked. And I started going to their city. They come to my city. I go to theirs. And then now I started putting together tours. Going to people, telling them that, man, I got this and I got that. At the time, Kevin had Soul playing out, but it had flopped. Because the bootleggers had killed him. Way before it got out. And right now he was going back down, and I took him on the road, and we hit everywhere. And started building back up. And
you started. So from there, is that when you met P?
No, I met P through AJ Johnson.
Okay.
Man, rest in peace to my partner, man. Real good guy. Me and AJ was on the road.
Okay.
And AJ was like, man, I'm gonna introduce you to P. I was like, all right, cool. And he called P, and P was telling me, man, you know, the stuff he had going on. So I'm sitting there talking to him.
Now, what year is this?
This is like 2001.
So you talking to P now in his height. Well, I think with the height was what, 96
Yeah,
to
that was 96. Yeah.
96 P was unstoppable.
Yeah.
Any and every song he
Yeah.
put out, he can just put something out, y'all, and just breathe on the mic. Master
Oh
P.
no, it was gone. It was
Master
gone.
P. So by the time 2001, was he coming down? And
Nah,
he was still up there.
He was still, but he was at his height, but he was almost at his height to where he was still on a level to where he come 50 now.
But not only 50, but let me ask you this. So you got the 50s, you got Master P,
Mm-hmm.
you got Jay-Z,
Man,
you got Diddy, right? I'm talking about pioneers in hip hop that.
what a lot of people didn't know is P had a Destiny's Child.
Really?
Man,
what happened with
Beyonce
that?
now.
What happened?
I'm gonna tell you, just to let you know. If you remember, what's it? I'm a Survivor. If you notice, they all had on camouflage.
And they was all saying, they was kind of grunting a little bit too.
That's when P was in Houston.
Uh-huh.
And like, man, a lot of people of today came through P. People don't know.
So how did P lose Destiny's Child out?
Well, it ain't that he lost him. It was just that P was like almost like a consultant to him. He got him in the game.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
probably says nothing else I can do with you. That's not my. He knew what his lane was.
At that time, P was mostly focusing on the films.
So, but let's go back to. I was about to ask you. Okay, so but I think this is the challenge that I have, Terry. When we think about P, I don't think that P gets the recognition today.
He doesn't.
That and I know people are going to get angry. I'm gonna say it, Diddy. Okay, that Diddy got, that Jay-Z got. Hell, even 50, because 50, because 50 is my dude, and the thing is, 50 is underplaying how much he really made because of the bank. He's playing the corporate game, right? But from the movies and all that 50's in. Why do you think Master P isn't getting?
Only thing I got to give 50 his props because I saw and I heard when he told P, he gave P his roses.
Okay.
He told P straight up like, look, if it weren't for you, I learned the game from you. Everything, from the movies to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And what a lot of people don't know is like when 50 first came out, P funded his whole tour. P funded his whole tour. 50's first tour, P funded that. But 50 always make a joke where he say, man, P got me because P stopped the tour for some reason that he had to take care of something, but P knew 50 was going to blow. But 50 was already under contract. So we had to pick the tour back up. 50 was already the biggest giant out here. So he had to finish the tour with P.
Most of what P did though was indie. He was self-funding, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that was the limitation to his career? Because you only can go so far using your own money.
The thing is this, P is a very visionary kind of guy. And you got to understand when people see anybody do something on a level, they feel like, man, you mastered that level and why you stop? But you got to understand, okay, I've done that. Man, I see bigger things for me. And, a lot of people now, they laugh at him when they like see him with the cereal and all this and that. But they just don't know this dude's vision is so big. Man, it's crazy. Some of the things I used to see him do in the house, I would laugh, but then it would come back. He would show me. I'd be like, damn. Like when he did Dancing with the Stars, I'm like, come on, P. We really gonna go to Dancing with the Stars? So we went and we was like, P ass getting kicked off the first taping. But he made it. I was like, damn. But then I would make jokes on him. You like Frankenstein out there, right? And he would laugh. But I was like, man, why the hell you doing Dancing with the Stars, dude?
Crossover.
But I never knew it until he woke us all up one day. He took us to Disneyland is in Orlando, right? What's the other
Disney World.
Which one is in Carlisle?
Disneyland.
He took us to Disneyland. I ain't gonna never forget me, Rome, all of us, the whole family. We went, we couldn't even get in because them white folks was tearing down the doors just to touch this dude. And he looked at me and said, That's what I'm talking about. Now you see why I did it.
Let me say this. Most of the biggest mistakes that our entertainers make is that they think the money just resides in our community.
Yeah.
One of the things that Luther Vandross died wanting to accomplish was to have that outreach to other communities. He wanted that crossover appeal. That's why, even though I don't even want to ask you what your thoughts are on Sexy Red and so forth, but one of the things that makes Sexy Red so appealing, she has that crossover. She has those white fraternity guys getting drunk to her song. Yeah. She has the crossover. Diddy, he crossed over. Jay-Z crossed over. Yeah. 50 crossed over. Yeah. So do you think, so P, he crossed over as it related to Dancing with the Stars, but I don't know that he really truly crossed over completely to where young white kids are out there saying, where's Master P today?
No, and see, it's not about that with him.
Okay.
P is mostly on a level of, he see generational wealth. Mm-hmm. He don't even really care about him no more. Mm-hmm. To where it's to a degree to where, man, P this or P that. It's mostly now with him, the Miller family. That's how it is really with him. Mm-hmm. And the crazy part about it is, like, I remember we had a meeting with Walmart. Mm-hmm. Me, him, and Romeo. And P got them white folks. Because he got two things that they love him. And what we don't understand is, like, when he did I Got the Hook Up Too, everybody was like, man, that movie is horrible. Mm-hmm. But what they didn't understand is this dude is so high on a level of thinking. They were like, yeah, that movie is horrible. And what he did, man, he put all them internet comedians in there, man, woo, this and that. But what you didn't understand is, he in the Guinness Book of World Records again, because he got a movie with the most speaking roles of an actor. Mm-hmm. And that's what them white folks love. Mm-hmm. That's your credit, that you are in the Guinness Book of World Records. Romeo in the Guinness Book of World Records for breaking Michael Jackson's record. Mm-hmm. So when you have that kind of credit, you would never be broke, because somebody gonna give you $1.
So what I'm hearing is thinking outside the box.
You got to.
Stop thinking about doing what everybody else is doing.
We so busy looking at, oh man, you got a podcast. Man, I'm gonna get me a podcast. Mm-hmm. No. Mm-hmm. That's our biggest problem. Like, we come and become each other's rivalry to tear each other down. Mm-hmm. Nah, that's why it's so hard for us to make it.
That's right. Right.
No, you have to think
you know what?
Do
you think that's really just a us thing?
It is.
You don't think other cultures struggle with that? No. Why do you think that?
Because for one, I'm gonna start even with our black women.
Okay.
Our black women is the only race saying they don't need a man.
But you know where that came from, right?
Please tell me.
Well, in the 19th, see, it wasn't always like that.
Please tell me.
In the 70s,
okay,
they were conditioned to believe that because the government at that time wanted black women to be the head of the household, so they gave them Section 8 vouchers and told them, you can live in this apartment, but you can't have a man here. You can get this food stamp money, but you can't have a man in your house. So it's in the 70s was when this whole black power came, with the women with the afros saying, I don't need a man, I don't need a man, I don't need a man. 80s came along, the crack epidemic came and destroyed many of our women. The 90s came along, people started realizing, wait a minute, I do need a man. But by then, those women had to take care, they had to become so hard to take care of the house because the men were away at prison. They started having kids at 13, 14 years old. They had to figure it out. And then by the mid 90s, they realized they needed a man, but our men were off with Becky and Susie because we were so hard. 2000s come around, we're trying to change it around, but so many black women now are so conditioned, they don't know how to be a woman anymore.
Because you know why? A lot of these women of today they've been single so long, that when they do get a man, they don't even know how to be a woman no more.
That's right. But that's what I was just saying.
Yeah, I mean, and it's true. But once again, like you just said a valid point when you said the government. See, the government plays that part because the government know who we are and we don't. And they don't want that black man.
Well, who are we? Who are we?
We are this planet. We run this. This is ours. We are the real kings and queens. And they know that. That's why they want to separate me and you. They don't want me in the household because they too fearful that if me and you come together and really put our heads together and find out what our powers that we really do have, we're going to go spread it. And white people are so afraid, thinking that if we will really become superior, that we would treat them 100 times worse than they treat us. But it ain't even in our nature.
Do you think that's what's fueling this whole MAGA movement that's going on now?
All this stuff is just big and fake to me. All of it. And a lot of people get mad when they say, man, you don't vote? No.
No, you don't vote.
I don't.
So you're not even, are you tuned in at all with what's going on? You don't care?
I'm only tuned in with me, my family, and my people around me. I'm going to find a way for them.
So do you probably have the mindset that I know some people have, which is it doesn't matter who wins because you're going to have to figure out.
Still going to have to figure it out. It's still going to be police brutality. It's still going to be, man, black on black crime. It's going to be whatever it is. Let me tell you something. And everybody around here was cheering Joe Biden, about, oh, he's doing this, he's doing that. That dude ain't do nothing. Because think about it. They sitting up here saying that they put out a law when the Asians and all them was getting beat up. They put a law out. Joe Biden did. That if you put a hand on an Asian.
The hate crime.
Black people, we've been getting our ass whooped for years. Even by the police. Even, they didn't put no laws out for us, but guess what? Georgia is the one who put them really in there. The blacks.
So what about Trump?
Trump is a comedian. That dude, man, if anybody go out here and vote for a damn Trump, you a damn fool. You lost. You lost. Because that dude telling you right here on national television that, man, look, I ain't worthy for none of this. He's just a show. It's just a whole way for you to look another way to others see to what's really going on over here.
To keep you, but I will say this. Well, let me just ask you this. So we're going into a period that's very, no one knows what's about to happen, right? It's a very uncomfortable period for me because I'm just very unsure about the future. What do you think, though, when you keep hearing the rumblings about a civil war? Do you think that that's even real?
Yeah.
You do? But do you think African Americans are ready?
African Americans is not ready of, how can I say this? On a level of being controlled on a civil war to where it's.
See, this is why
I'm looking for this word, organized.
Okay.
No, we're not. Now.
You know why, though, right?
Because there ain't no leadership.
But you know why, leadership. Right?
Why?
Every time we get a leader, they end up finding fault.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good and bad and different. I'm not saying I'm for Sean Diddy Combs. I'm going to use him as an example, though. Every time, I think if anybody could have organized some things in the future, there were our entertainers and athletes right now in the black community. That is what people, because yesterday I went to the Harris rally and they had Megan Thee Stallion performing. I'm like, what the hell is going on here, right?
Now you see?
But they said that she was there because she appeals to the kids.
Right.
The kids, okay? So, but whether I agree or not. So we got to think about the entertainers and the athletes appeal to the kids. So if Diddy could have organized, and he was many times, he had a platform, many times he was standing on business as it related to our community. Jay-Z was standing on business as it related to our community, as it related to the NFL and Super Bowl and things of that nature. Bill Cosby. I'm not saying that what was and what didn't, but it does seem like as soon as a person can get to a point of being able to impact change,
they find a way to tear them down.
And I'm not saying they, because do we give them something? Because we all have something. I just don't know. Terry. I'm just thinking about it because if I think about somebody who really could call the masses, one thing about Diddy is that he was a master marketer. He could put something on his page and not spend a damn dollar and make millions because he understood the psychology of people and he could market and he had the following. He could have done it. And now I don't think we'll ever see, I don't know what the outcome will be for him.
Well, this is the thing. For one, Diddy couldn't do it.
You don't think so? No. Why not?
He can't do it.
Why?
Because you got to understand, anyone that's in the entertainment industry, period, is not ready for that kind of level. The only one who I may give the benefit of the doubt is Killer Mike. Killer Mike is someone that he will have my attention enough to listen. Anybody else, negative. You
think that people would look at Diddy as too much of a client? And by the way, I want to state this. I am not saying I'm in agreement with Diddy. I'm not saying that what he did with those young women and the women should not have been something that we're talking about. I want to put that out there before I get a lot of hate mail. But I am talking about pre-accusations and the influence that he had on our community.
It's going to take, well, for one, who we need is coming. They're coming. But no one in the entertainment business, they can't. Because,
how do you know they're coming, though? How are you so sure of that?
Trust me, they're coming. Time is coming. Mm-hmm. It's coming. They're coming. And it's not going to be no one in the industry. No one. No one is going to really take no one serious in the industry. No, definitely from their background, because it's the industry. Mm-hmm.
And the industry seems to be falling apart right about now.
The industry's been fell apart.
It's been. So this is the thing. Behind the scenes, you and I know. Mm-hmm. We heard, we seen. Some of us may have even experienced, right? But now this stuff is actually coming to the forefront and real people are talking about it, and it's no longer just a... how can I say, conspiracy theory. It's real.
Yeah.
The ruling parties, everything. I don't know that Hollywood, to your point, is going to be even a thing.
Well, it's really not no Hollywood no more.
No more, right? Because you got these Instagram folks that can make the same amount of money as an A-lister. They sitting at the same tables as the A-listers. So
Hollywood is already crumbling down. With the AI, then you have the streaming platforms. There's really no Hollywood. There's no record labels. There's none of that.
Mm-mm. And that's the thing, record labels. Somebody was talking to me. I think it may have been Fonz was talking to me the other day about people still signing, and I was like, people still signing to labels?
Those are the ones who are lost. They have no clue. And I was just telling the youngsters in here today. I was like, the difference with the generation then when I was coming up is y'all have an advantage to get money by just sitting in the house on the internet. Mm-hmm. We had to get it in the streets. Mm-hmm. You can actually sit in the house, but we had to hustle.
You had to have those mixtape, those little CDs and tapes, and you had to hustle.
That's why I laugh, like with the people that's making films now. I mean, big shout out to them, but if they were to shut down the internet, they would be lost. They wouldn't have a clue. Mm-hmm. I'm just so happy that I'm in this film industry now, and I came in an era to where Blockbuster, before any of this, and Redbox and all those, when I was getting the money, without the internet. These guys now, they're so gone with this internet, man, they would lose it.
Yep. Anytime, if we have any type of cyber attack,
they done.
When
I just went to Cancun last week, and I was at the airport, and Delta had shut down. I'm looking at everybody, they was panicking. I'm like, man, will y'all give me a voucher so I can go back?
Hey, listen.
Let me go back. Give me a voucher.
And go back. Or the other thing is, people don't even think about, let me go over here to Hertz, rent me a car, and I'm going to get on. The thing is, I tell young people, you got to think of things outside of the box.
They was gone. They was losing it. Like, if you would have seen how everybody was over in Mexico losing it, like, oh Jesus Christ, they just delayed me again for another 2 hours.
Well, shit, I probably would have had a fit too now, because in Mexico, I can't get in the car and drive back home.
Look here, I was like, would they give me a voucher so I could go back?
Right. But you know what? This is one of my biggest fears that I always think about now when traveling anywhere is, can I get back home? That's a real fear people need to think about.
No, it is. It's definitely a fear. And those times are coming.
They are.
We are living in some... Man, you just got to be prepared. You got to stay prayed up. You got to be prepared. And you just got to you can't panic because it's coming. Mm-hmm. And it's going to catch everybody off guard.
What's coming?
It's a big one coming.
What is that?
I don't know.
But you can feel it.
Oh, I know for a fact.
Hey, I talk about this every morning with my cousin. I
know
say,
for a fact.
You can feel it. It's in the air. Not only that, these last few days, and I know by the time this airs, this is going to be irrelevant, but I'll tell you, the last few days, it's been some unusual storms happening. Have you been paying attention? The clouds aren't even normal.
Let me tell you something. The storms, even at the fact that the time, like, today is what, Wednesday? Mm-hmm. And it seems like tomorrow will be Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Because the time is flying.
Listen.
I mean, it's flying past.
The pandemic came and it feels like it was just yesterday.
People, and I'm telling you, something big is about to take place. And it's going to take place to where it's not going to be one of those situations like, oh, man, they got another indictment on Puffy. It ain't nothing like that. It's going to be a world shocker. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the whole damn California just don't fall off into the ocean. Mm-hmm. Like, it's going to be something to where it's going to be so tragic, we ain't going to have no choice but everybody to break down.
And bow.
It ain't going to be about race. It ain't going to be about none of that.
It ain't about money. Because your money not going to be accepted. Right.
Your money ain't going to be able to be, none of that.
Do you take some of the things that you know, have you used that into any of your films?
No, but I am now. Mm-hmm. The up and coming films that I have going on, yeah.
So the films you currently have, those are more urban?
Yeah, more urban, more freaky-ish. Mm-hmm. Because it seems like those are the times we living in right now. Mm-hmm. I try to make a film on the levels of what's going on right now. Mm-hmm. I try to entertain and educate at the same time. Mm-hmm. By all means, if it's to the point where I got to push the car all the way to the end, I make sure if I do that, what I'm trying to get out, you're going to get. Because, we gone. We messed up. Mm-hmm. We are messed up. Mm-hmm. Husband, wives, everything. Mm-hmm. Do you know the biggest situation that's taking place right now is husband and wives are just like, hey, come on in my bedroom. That's the life we living in right now.
Where they're inviting everybody in.
Swingers.
And it's becoming a normal thing, right?
You think it ain't?
And listen, you see a thing on social media where it's normal for people the polygamy. I remember at first when people started talking about polygamy, it was always just Caucasians. Now it's like, oh my goodness, it's all over. And then some of my girlfriends that are out there still dating, they saying that that's a big problem for them because most of the guys they're dating now, they
want another woman.
That's it. They want that. If you're not into that, they're not even getting a second date.
When the pandemic hit, and guys who was out here sleeping with other women and lying to them, and then when the pandemic hit and everybody had to stay in the house and they couldn't get out, and it got to the point now the second and the third woman, side chick, knew that they wasn't the first chick because this dude is gone and he's in the house with his real chick. It got to the point where the women got to the point like, look, okay, you got a wife. I didn't know. Me and you been together for 7 or 8 years. Mm-hmm. They started talking to the wife. Look, we've been sharing this dude for this long. We might as well come together and pay these bills together and live in one household.
Now, do you think is that? Because I think wife number one may not have been open to that unless the finances. Because right now we're living during a time where inflation is so freaking high. The reality of it is, some people said we have to have 3 or 4 people in order to be able to survive.
Wife number one is with it because the simple fact she's living a lifestyle to where she can't lose. She don't want to lose that, and I have a movie right now that's been the top 10 on Tubi. It's called Swap Out.
Okay.
SWAPOUT.
I'm gonna have to check it out. Swap out.
Sleeping with another person on unique terms.
Okay.
And it's about a married couple during the pandemic. And right now, that's what's happening. Women don't want to lose the lifestyle they have, and they be so loved with the husband they're willing to do anything in the world to keep him.
So do you believe that in this whole monogamous thing, do you think that, and do you believe in monogamous marriages? Do you believe that there's a situation where a man is a man and he's only with that woman, and that woman is a woman that's only with her husband? Or do you think that's just a figment of imagination today?
Well, yeah, I mean, for one, I mean, I feel like a man should have multiple wives.
Okay.
I mean,
you feel like that just in general.
I mean, I'm Muslim, so
okay.
That's how we.
As long as you can, so in your belief,
as long as I can take care of each one of the women equally.
Okay.
But I just feel that way. Like a man is. I mean,
well, what about a woman? Why can't a woman have multiple men? Is that against the Muslim religion?
That's not happening.
So that's against the Muslim religion.
I don't know if it's against it, but it's against with me. That's
but I'm just saying, so because you know, we're gonna talk because you brought up I'm Muslim. Yeah. So you Muslim, so we're gonna go back to the Quran. The Quran stated that you can have multiple women.
Right.
If
that's
you
by law.
Make sure we state this, as long as you can take care of them.
Each
Problem is, a lot of these dope jokers can't take care of them. But okay, as long as you can take care of them. But what does the Quran state about the woman?
That's not in it.
See that
that's not in it.
You don't think that's
because you was made for me.
But you're not made for her?
Yeah, I'm made for you.
But you're made, she was made for you, but
right.
You very well could have multiple people made for you.
Correct.
Okay. So you think that's why, do you believe that's why the divorce rate is so high in this country? Because we have unrealistic expectations about marriage?
I think the divorce level is high because people don't have truthful conversations with their mate.
Mm-hmm. So do you have that conversation when you're dating them?
Yeah.
You say up front, you let them know up front.
Yeah.
I'm really vibing you.
Yeah.
But eventually,
if that's what I want, that's what I'm going to tell you. Now, even though that's what the Quran may state. For one, I don't put my religion out there like that because I don't want nobody to feel like how I live, that's how you supposed to live because people watch me. But me, if I was on that kind of time, that's what I want, I'm going to bring it to you. But I don't really desire that. You know what I'm saying? Because one of y'all are worse enough for me. You think I'm going to have 3 or 4 y'all mouths running around here? I can't.
But that leaves the door open though. So whoever chooses to marry you has to be okay with one day he may come home and say, "I want to marry someone else."
I'm not gonna put nobody into a trick bag like that.
Okay.
I would tell someone in the beginning if this is what's going on. But like I say, I don't really desire that. And you got to understand, I done that. I done that so many times. So that doesn't really move me to a degree like that. And plus, I didn't get married. So it's not where it's a level to where, oh man, I'm going to get married, so I got to have that. Well, I ain't tripping about that. I just really want that one. It's hard to find that one. You know, so
well, that's why some people end up getting the 2, 3, 4 because they think that they can just build that 1 out of 4.
Oh no, they're a mean piece of machine. If they can handle 2 or 3 of them women. If they can handle 2 or 3 black women, oh, they some mean piece of machines, man. And then you don't want no white women because they gonna kill you for that money.
That's right. They gonna take it all.
Oh, they gonna kill you for that money. Act like they ain't did nothing. So I'm cool with just one woman.
Okay. Because in relationships today, it's no joke.
But that's the world we live in now.
And then Tubi, you guys are showing that a lot.
Oh yeah.
And it's becoming a point where it is just the norm.
Yeah, it's the norm. And like I say, I'm one of the first ones who put up film like that on Tubi. Back in that was 2021 when I put that on there.
How many films have you put out since?
On Tubi, I got 13.
Wow. Yeah, one thing I like about Tubi is that it is now celebrating the independent filmmaker.
Yeah.
I remember back, let's say in the early 90s or so, they had Menage a Trois. You remember all those?
Trois.
They didn't,
William
with Kenya and all them. Yeah. They didn't really get the love that indie filmmakers make
because it was
today.
all about Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's all about Hollywood. Right now, it's all about the independency. Independent filmmakers are making, I don't know about, I can't speak for everybody else. Me, I make very good money.
Yeah, I
with
heard
Tubi.
Tubi's doing very.
Oh,
if you
yeah,
do,
yeah.
I heard that some people say, "Hey," because there's some people that's talking about, "Oh, I want to do more than Tubi." Then there's some of my other filmmakers say, "I'm good right here."
Man, do you know in the month of May, Tubi outdid Paramount and Disney with the views of people?
Well, they said that Tubi
And it's owned by Fox.
Yeah, it's owned by Fox,
Yeah.
and it surpassed Netflix and Hulu.
Oh, yeah.
It was the #1 streaming platform today.
It's so big now, it made Netflix drop from their A and B actors to dealing with independent people again. So I don't, like I said, I can't speak for everybody else, but me, I'm pretty good with Tubi.
But you know what you got to keep on the back of your mind is as soon as things get real good for us, they pull the carpet from up under us and start changing the logarithms and all that. You know, the numbers start getting a little shaky.
It definitely do that. And to be honest with you, it's because of us, because you have a lot of us now that's running around out here saying that we're distributing companies for Tubi, and all the time you're not. You're not.
Yeah, they're going on, and then people are saying, "Oh, I can get your stuff placed on Tubi," but really, at the end of the day, you out here pitching just like I'm pitching, and you getting
Tubi, you have to be grandfathered in. You have to be grandfathered to get with them.
So yeah, it's a lot of. So what do you think about the film industry right now, though?
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. Like I say, man, you know, shout out to P for even showing me this game.
So that's respectful because a lot of times people stay and they want somebody to, like I tell them, don't come to me and ask me for no money.
Right.
Ask me to show you how to get some money.
Yeah.
And I'll show you that. But if you ask me, I may give you that and tell you to go head on about your business because right now I know your mindset is not where it needs to be.
Yeah.
So I love the fact of hearing that P did not say, here, but let me show you.
Yeah. And a lot of people think that, man, you've been with P for so long, man. I know P gave you millions. And I'd be like, yeah, he gave me millions of game.
Yeah.
To show me how to get money for me. He made me a boss.
That's right.
So I don't want to be around nobody who can't show me something to take me to another level. I don't want you to give me $1 because I could spend $1 in a day. You know what I'm saying? So one thing I can say about that dude, he showed me everything there is to make money for myself and everybody that's around me.
That's much respect. What's next for you?
Everything that you say I can't do.
Okay. Anybody, you sound like me. Anybody that tells me I'm not gonna do it, and I can't, and you won't, and that just turns that in my back.
Everything a person tell me that I can't do, that's what's next for me. I'm gonna do.
Yeah, because I mean, you were back in the day, from laying in the woods.
I done did it all, from laying in the woods to, man, doing my time incarcerated, coming out, doing the comedy world, being an A&R for
Trash
No Limit.
bin.
Trash bin. That trash boy killed me. Yeah, but being an A&R for P, for the record label, to now me doing my own films and me breaking records and opening up the doors for other independent people.
Before we close out, what is it that somebody can do to get your attention? Like, you know, everybody's coming to, hey, I'm down. I want to be down. I want to be down. How do you know that this is the one that I need to invest my time in?
You know what? That's been one of my biggest downfalls, because my heart be so big for people, because I want to be that person to give a person the opportunity, because I feel like I was blessed to have it through P. But my biggest problem is I be wanting it more than them. And I find myself putting so much time into them to where I start losing me. So now I be real careful. I be real skeptical about who I deal with and how I deal with them, because I have done a lot for people, and the people pretty much came back and kicked me in the ass.
That's what happens. You know, I'll tell you this. The other thing we have to remember too is that the trials and tribulations that we had to go through back in the day is just not reality today. And we have to realize this certain amount of grit that we have, you can't expect that out of the kids today because they didn't experience what we experienced.
Right.
Respecting that and then determining who's worthy of that time. And that's what I tell people. I'm at this point, my time is limited, and I have to be very cautious.
You have to.
As to how and what, because for me, my time spent is more costly than me writing a check.
Yeah, you
Right?
have to be very careful, and you got to remember so that the devil listens to what you pray. That's why when I pray, I pray enter, not out, because he can't do nothing to me or deceive me with anyone if I pray enter, because God is in you.
That's right.
So you don't have to speak out and pray. I just pray in.
Pray in.
The devil can't hear what I'm speaking on the inside, but when you pray out, what he'll do is he'll send his to go, man, make sure you take the wrong turn so you can crash. So you got to be careful about how you do things and how you speak things and all that.
And who you picking up on the side. I tell people from time to time, I'm sure you probably do the same thing. The best way to actually learn from me, the best way for me to mentor and teach you is probably come here in the agency and get a job. Because the reality of it, Terry, I don't really have a whole lot of time to sit down and let's etch out a plan. Let's do. Your best way of learning from me is by watching me.
And that's true.
And jumping in when you can, and let me teach you here, teach you. But I just don't have a whole lot of time anymore.
No, that's true.
I just don't.
That's the best way to do it. I mean, like I say, everybody, and like P always tell me when he say, like, man, that's one thing I say about you, my nigga. You picked up and you ran with it. Like, you learned. Because if you really want it, you're gonna study that individual. Especially, I mean, if you got this agency and you got everybody around you, someone is around watching you, and they gonna mimic you. You know what I'm saying? And it might work for them. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, that's what you want, because you never know, one day that person that's around you may be the next person to blow, and you might need to go to them for help.
Never know.
So that's why I don't have no problem with helping people and being there for them, because one day I might need that person. But the crazy part about it is you can run into the wrong people, help the wrong people, and they be the ones that help destroy you.
Be sitting back with fangs in their mouth. Yep.
I get it all the time, man. That's why I tell people, man, keep your grass cut so you can see the snakes when they come.
That's right. I look at sand. Get that grass out of here.
Yeah.
I can see clearly. I pay very close attention to everything.
Yeah. So now, a lot of times, like I was telling them earlier, I be by myself. You know, I be by myself. I hustle by myself. I go in any neighborhood, in any city, wherever I got to go. I don't fear nothing. Man, like, at the end of the day, what's going to happen? What's next? What you going to do to me? Kill me? Shoot, I ain't afraid to die. You know, because that's something we all have to do.
We all got to march through that door one day. Yeah.
So, but right now, as long as I'm breathing.
But I think also everything that you've been through.
Yeah.
I don't think that death is probably one of your biggest fears at this point.
It's not at all. And the crazy part about it is that's when I might get some real peace. You know. But other than that, while I'm here, I'm gonna keep doing everything I gotta do to make sure I make somebody happy, or if I could change somebody's life, or I just want to be able to meet my maker and tell him, when he asked me, man, what did you do with the gifts and the talents I gave you? Man, this is what I did.
And you want him to say, job well done.
That's it. I'm good.
Well, thank you, Terry. I appreciate you coming into the studio today.
I appreciate you for having me.
Thank you. And we'll see you next time on Coinology. Welcome to Coinology, the podcast.
You ain't getting no money if you constantly worried about what everybody else got to say. If you constantly got your eyes on what everybody else doing, you ain't getting no money. When it comes down to closing the deal, I get it done. Every single one.
Welcome to Coinology, the podcast.